me.
Go ahead and shoot into the main topics, and let's start off with something big. We kind of got like a little rumor that was out there that Bioshock 4 is first of all in production, and that it could be open world. So
Is it by the same guy that made Bioshock Infinite and Bioshock Original?
I think it's the same people. Yeah,
That's
I don't
huge
think
news,
I don't think it's anything different. But I mean, for one, I'm stoked that there's another Bioshock that's in the making and whatnot, because we haven't heard anything from them in quite a few years.
Yeah.
And then for it to be an open world is just kind of like, where are they gonna take this? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the other games have been fairly open because there's no loading scenes or anything like that that you're getting when you're going. It's just one area that you're going through.
Right. You're moving from area to area.
Right. So I mean, how open will this open world game be? If that is the route that they're going. What do you guys think?
What do you think about like an open world encased in a building? Because, for instance, Bioshock is underwater inside, like, you're kind of inside a building the whole time.
The first one.
Yes, it's a city, and also even the second one is kind of a little bit like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that too claustrophobic? How do you make that feel
The
open?
second one you went back to Rapture, right?
For brief,
or was that
yeah,
3?
Bioshock 2, you're in Rapture again.
Right.
You go back to Rapture.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking to myself, like, for an open world game to be open, I feel like it has to be in the open air, right? Like Skyrim or like Fallout. Those feel like open world. So that's a total different direction.
I mean, you kind of had that. You kind of had them up in the air in Bioshock 3 as well.
A little bit, but you're still
Floating.
inside like buildings, moving from building to building.
Floating
There's
city.
outside parts, but for the most part, you're encased.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't understand like how that really looks when I think of open world. Even like the new Pokemon, what do? When they made it open world, they opened it up. Yeah. You're not inside any longer. You're not moving from building to building. You're actually in the open
linear.
world.
Yeah. I think open world is more non-linear.
Yeah, and I also think it's also more open too, where you're not inside things the whole time. Right?
But I mean, like, Pokemon's never really been inside.
Well, you're moving from like
you're going to
gym to gym, right? Yeah,
like
and you're traveling on a path.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about just like the notion most open world games are just like it's an open world in a sense, like the world is open too. Where Rapture never felt that way to me.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. What
you felt like you were
like.
going through a city or a town or something like that you were investigating.
So how does this look? How does this change? How do they capture that Bioshock feel? Because that Bioshock feel is that's part of it. Being encased in a scary place, moving from room to room, battling zone to zone.
Mm-hmm.
How do they capture that feel in an open world if it's going to be a true open world? Like, how do you envision that looking or feeling?
Yeah. I'm trying to envision it in my head. I've only played the first and the second one. I beat the first one. I played maybe half through the second one. But you're 100% right. Like, is it going to be you can just go in those chamber elevator things to anywhere you want now? Because before, you can only go wherever the mission was. You advance to the next one. Now is it when you start the game, you can go anywhere?
Just fast travel
like
mechanic?
Just an area that you can explore.
Is that what they mean by open world?
Or is it like going to be at a different place that we've never seen before? Maybe it takes place before the first one. And it's like you're saying, you're outside, but I would hope to preserve how the game feels. Like you're saying, it is very creepy. You're kind of looking every corner. People are popping out. To me, it's a spooky game. There's like guys on the ceiling jumping down at you. How are they going to preserve that? Because if it's outside, it's going to be like, are people going to jump from trees at you? So I don't know when this game is going to take place. I never played the third one, Infinite, so I don't know what timeline that takes. But I don't know if it's going to be.
I don't know if we just spoil it, but like Infinite does open the door.
Is it before? Is it later?
It's neither.
It's outside. It's like a floating town.
No, he's talking about the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline.
Where in the Bioshock timeline does it take place? Does it come after Rapture, before Rapture? It's neither.
It's like on its own time.
No, it's neither because it's a separate. You remember the end, right?
I can't remember it. It's been a while since I played it.
Well, I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want to ruin the game for you.
Okay, so I guess I'll just say.
Think of it this way: it's not like timelines, okay? So just think of it that way.
So are they like in heaven or something?
Like try to wrap your mind around whatever you want to think.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not like don't think of it that way.
Got you. Okay.
But I think that it would probably Bioshock would probably work even if you had like a building or something like that that you were going through, or like another town, or like a village or something like that. Like an enclosed area. If it didn't have that you had to go from A to B, like if you just had an objective and you could explore and see anything you wanted, go wherever you wanted to go, you come across random things or something like that aren't the main mission. I think that would probably be more open world, if you had like semi side quests or something like that.
Yeah, that's more like a pseudo open world to me than like a true open world.
Or maybe you could swim.
Because you
on
always
the second
have,
one, you could kind of swim a little bit.
Yeah.
When you're in the
because you always
big boy
have
suit.
like a freaking world.
Maybe they'll let you just swim anywhere, and there's more. I don't know.
Your area is always limited in some way. There's not like an infinite range that you can go. So there's always a wall that you're gonna hit in an open world game.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of how big.
But I'm talking about
I'm
talking about true openness though. To me, is like you're not encased into anything. Yes, of course, there's a limit, to anything. That's not what I'm trying to say.
But I think you can still have an open world, or at least like that, that type of gameplay in like an enclosed area. If it's tall or small, but it's 4x4 or something like that, as long as you can go through it and you can do anything you want, and it's not like a predetermined path that you have to choose. I think that's like, to me, kind of like what open world is.
I think open worlds are deeper than that. Yeah, I think it's more than just not having a predetermined path. I think you have to have an actual world.
Yeah, because when I think of Bioshock 1, I just think of like one big dungeon. You know what I mean?
I think of a big dungeon.
Like a really, really big dungeon. And I guess same for like, I guess Persona, right? Persona 5, it does have some open aspects. You can do whatever you want, but it has like your dungeons you go into. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like in Persona 5, you can turn whatever direction you really want to go. You can go left, you can go right. That's, I guess, a choice, but that's not really like an open world to me. So open world is more than just
outside
choices.
The dungeons,
Huh?
Sorry,
like even outside the dungeons, you have choices.
Yeah,
it's kind of open, but it's very minuscule, right?
Yeah.
Because you can make choices. That's why I'm just saying it's more than just choices. I think it has to be like an actual open, living, breathing world.
Yeah.
Right.
No, for sure.
That's more how I understand open world.
I was just saying, if I envision them
in
Rapture, maybe it would be more like Persona, like you go outside. I just don't know.
I don't know how they encapsulate Bioshock and make it in Skyrim.
Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. Unless it's like a reinventing of the,
notion of open world.
Oh no, it's reinventing of the franchise. Maybe it's
reinventing of the franchise.
Like a different timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just looking at the like the definition of what they have for like open world. And it just says, like, in video games, an open world is a game mechanic of using a virtual world that the player can explore and approach objectives freely, as opposed to a world with more linear and structured gameplay. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, I guess it's just about how open, how big. It
has to be like a world, yeah.
And when it crosses that line, it's technically a world. It's just a
it has to have enough of a notion of feeling like a world to be open world. So, for instance, like in The Last of Us, when you had that one Last of Us 2, when you had that one spot and you went to Seattle, right? Mm-hmm. And you had that big open section, you can choose to do it in whatever way you wanted to do it. But I wouldn't consider that big enough to be an open world. Yes, it wasn't linear there. Yes, I made choices and it was open to me to go here or there, whatever way.
Yeah.
But that didn't quite cross over. Oh, this is now an open world game. Didn't cross over. They didn't cross that line. You need a full world. Like, that's how I envision it. An open world game. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, the news of Bioshock 4 and, and that being open world, I definitely am ready to see.
I'm always good for an open world game.
Yeah, I'm always good for a Bioshock game. So, open world or not.
We'll see how it is, though, how much it changes, because it might have to be completely re-envisioned. You know, how much of a Bioshock is there still? I don't know.
Maybe like Halo Infinite. Like, no, it's not fully open world.
Is this really Halo?
Some areas are open. but
yeah, exactly.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It isn't really open world. It's just you can choose this each section. You can make choices, but it's not an open, living, continual world.
I love you, me.